Troubles come, troubles go, do not be afraid. Love is stronger than you know, do not be afraid. Through the highs and through the lows, do not be afraid. Find your faith, let it show, do not be afraid. When your hope is out of sight, do not be afraid. In the darkness of the night, do not be afraid. It cannot overcome the light, do not be afraid. In your heart you know I'm right, so do not be afraid. When the world says you're wrong, don't be afraid. Stand up tall, sing your song, do not be afraid. When the day is getting long, do not be afraid. The flesh is weak but the spirit's strong, so don't be afraid. If your friend should walk away, do not be afraid. If you have nothing to say, do not be afraid. If the cost is high to pay, do not be afraid. Soon will come a brand new day, so do not be afraid now.
So first of all, let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. Nameless, unreasoning, unjustified terror, which paralyzes the effort to convert retreat into advance.
When your well is running dry, do not be afraid. When you are too tired to try, do not be afraid. When you feel like you will die, do not be afraid. When you really don't know why, do not be afraid.
I have a dream that one day this nation will rise up, live out the true meaning of its creed. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
When you've made a big mistake, do not be afraid. When you cannot seem to wake, do not be afraid. When your heart begins to break, do not be afraid. When you can't endure the ache, do not be afraid. All day today and tomorrow too, do not be afraid. Find a love you know is true, do not be afraid. Let it shine in all you do, do not be afraid. And remember God believes in you, so do not be afraid. Do not be afraid. No, when your hope is out of sight, in the darkness of the night, when the world says you're wrong, stand up tall, sing your song. Don't be afraid. Do not be afraid. No, no. Do not be afraid. Do not be afraid.
Well, I don't know what will happen now. We've got some difficult days ahead. But it really doesn't matter with me now, because I've been to the mountaintop. I don't mind. Like anybody, I would like to live a long life. Longevity has its place. But I'm not concerned about that now. I just want to do God's will. And He's allowed me to go up to the mountain. And I've looked over and I've seen
the promised land. I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land. So I'm happy tonight. I'm not worried about anything. I'm not fearing any man. Mine eyes have seen the glory of the coming of the Lord.